The galaxy was vast, filled with countless stars, planets, and civilizations. Some of these civilizations were old, proud, and powerful. They had fleets of ships that could cross light years in days and weapons that could destroy entire planets. And yet, in all that vastness, a quiet danger was moving. A danger that no one fully understood. The Galactic Council had sensed it first. The Council was a group of the oldest and strongest species in known space. They met to make decisions that affected entire star systems. When the Council realized the threat, they sent out a message. It was urgent, clear, and repeated to every advanced species. A cosmic entity approaches. It consumes worlds. We must act together. For most species, the message was ignored. They debated, delayed, or dismissed it. Some thought it was exaggeration. Others assumed someone else would handle it. Pride and fear kept them silent. The Council's warnings went unheeded. Systems across the galaxy waited, hoping the danger would pass them by. But Earth did not wait. Earth's leaders were not the oldest or strongest, but they were determined. Humanity had always been small in the galactic view. Their ships were fewer and smaller, their technology simpler in some ways, yet their scientists and engineers were clever. Their leaders understood the stakes. They knew that if they waited like everyone else, they could be destroyed. In the war room aboard the massive Earth Orbital Command Station, Admiral Celine Marshall stood tall. She was not the oldest officer, but she was sharp, focused, and fearless. Around her, a team of engineers, scientists, and officers buzzed with activity. Holographic displays showed the approaching threat, a dark, shifting cloud of energy moving through space, devouring planets. "It's moving faster than predicted," said one young officer, his voice tight. "If we don't act, it will reach the outer colonies in weeks." Marshall's eyes narrowed. "Then we move faster. Prepare the fleet. Every ship ready to leave this system in 3 hours. We are going to meet this thing head-on." Her words surprised some. The idea of a small human fleet confronting a galaxy-threatening entity seemed reckless. But Earth had no choice. Waiting meant destruction. Acting meant survival. The fleet itself was a curious sight. Earth had no massive warships like other civilizations. Their ships were retrofitted from old mining and cargo vessels, equipped with experimental weapons and shields. But humans had something other species often lacked: imagination and determination. Engineers worked tirelessly, welding, recalibrating, and testing. Nothing was standard. Every ship carried surprises, traps, hidden weapons, and unconventional defenses. As the fleet assembled in orbit, the sky filled with moving points of light. Ships of all sizes, miners, freighters, and specially built vessels hovered in formation. From a distance, alien observers might have laughed at the motley fleet. But Marshall knew its strength. Every ship was a part of a plan. Every human aboard was ready to fight. In the days before departure, scientists discovered something remarkable. The cosmic entity reacted strangely to energy fields and vibrations. Conventional weapons might not work, but humans were adaptable. They began testing alternative methods, using sound waves, magnetic pulses, and gravity fluctuations to probe the entity's weakness. Meanwhile, the galaxy remained silent. No other fleets arrived. No other species volunteered. The silence was deafening. The council members, watching from afar, murmured among themselves. "Earth is foolish," one said. "They will be destroyed." But humans did not wait for approval. They had never relied on anyone else to save them. Earth's fleet jumped into hyperspace, leaving their system behind. The stars streaked past as the ships moved toward the first threatened planet. On board each vessel, humans prepared in their own ways. Some prayed, some checked weapons. Others quietly wrote letters to loved ones, unsure if they would return. Captain Rian Vega of the vessel. Dauntless stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. His crew was nervous. They were young, Many had never seen battle, but Vega's voice was calm and firm. "We face the unknown," he said. "We do not wait for others. We act. That is what humans do. Stay sharp, trust your training, trust each other." His words carried weight. Even the most anxious crew felt a spark of courage. Humanity had faced impossible odds before: pandemics, wars, natural disasters, and survived. They would face this too. The first planet they reached was under attack. Sensors showed it being torn apart by waves of energy from the entity. Cities burned, oceans boiled, entire continents disintegrated. The humans arrived just in time. The fleet spread out, moving like a swarm of bees. Small ships darted between energy streams, distracting the entity. Larger vessels fired modified weapons, not strong enough to destroy it, but enough to test it, to see how it reacted. Marshall coordinated from the command station. "Keep it distracted. Use the decoys. Target its edges, not the center. We need to learn its pattern." The battle was unlike any humans had trained for. No enemy fired missiles or lasers in predictable patterns. The entity was a living force of destruction, shifting and adapting constantly. Ships had to think, move, and react in real time. Every decision mattered. One wrong move, and a ship would be lost. Yet, human ingenuity shone. Engineers on the fly modified weapons, created new decoys, and rerouted energy to shields when necessary. Pilots used maneuvers that no one else would dare. The humans turned fear into action. The entity had not expected this. It adapted, but the humans adapted faster. After hours of tense battle, the humans succeeded. The planet was battered but not destroyed. Its inhabitants survived. Human ships hovered above the planet, repairing damage, sending supplies, and stabilizing the atmosphere. They had acted when no one else did. They had been present. Elsewhere, other species watched. Some were amazed. Some were terrified. They had relied on the council, on their pride, on the idea that someone else would act. Now they saw that humans, small, underestimated humans, could confront the impossible and survive. Marshall looked at the data coming in. Her face was calm, but her mind raced. This was only the beginning. The entity had been delayed, not destroyed. More worlds were at risk. The humans would have to move again, act again, fight again, and they would do it without waiting for anyone else. In the quiet moments after the battle, crew members shared stories. Some laughed nervously, others cried, but all felt pride. They had faced a cosmic terror and held their ground. Humanity had shown what it meant to be present when no one else would. Captain Vega stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars. He thought about the silence of the galaxy, the empty fleets, and the absence of help. And yet, he felt hope. Humans had a way of surviving, of finding solutions where others saw none. They would face the darkness, and they would not be alone in spirit. The message to the galaxy was clear. When no one else showed up, humanity was present. They were small but determined. They were clever, brave, and unyielding. And the galaxy, for the first time in centuries, began to take notice. As the human fleet set course for the next planet under threat, Marshall turned to her officers. "We do what must be done. We do not wait. We act. Humanity has always been present when it mattered. This time is no different." The humans had saved the first planet, but the cosmic entity was still out there. It moved silently, consuming everything in its path, leaving only emptiness behind. Its form was strange, almost alive, a shifting cloud of energy and matter, pulsating with a cold, alien intelligence. No weapon, no fleet, no civilization had ever truly faced it before. And now, humanity was on its path. Admiral Celine Marshall's fleet emerged from hyperspace near the next system under threat. The planet below was in chaos. The entity had already begun draining energy from its core, destabilizing the surface. Cities crumbled, oceans boiled, and the atmosphere flickered like a candle in the wind. Humans had no time to waste. "Prepare for engagement," Marshall ordered. "We have one chance to slow it down." Captain Rian Vega's Dauntless moved, forward with precision. His crew had trained for this, but training was nothing like reality. The entity did not behave like a normal enemy. It was unpredictable, changing shape, speed, and energy patterns without warning. Lasers and missiles bounced off or were absorbed entirely. Conventional tactics were useless. "Sensors are picking up massive energy fluctuations," said Lieutenant Mara, the science officer. "It reacts to our weapons, but not like anything we expected. We might need a new approach." Marshall nodded. "Then we improvise. That's what humans do best." The humans had studied the entity after the first battle. They had discovered a strange reaction. It responded differently to vibrations, sound, and energy pulses. If approached correctly, they might exploit this weakness. Engineers quickly modified weapons, creating resonance emitters and energy pulses to test its reactions. Small ships acted as bait, drawing the entity's attention while larger vessels prepared to strike. Vega's crew watched nervously as their ship maneuvered closer. "This is insane," whispered one young pilot. "We're going straight into its path." Vega smiled faintly. "We don't wait for miracles, we create them." The first strike was chaotic. Small decoy ships zipped around the entity, sending pulses and making noise in ways the enemy didn't expect. The entity reacted violently, twisting its form to intercept the attacks. Its energy surges through some ships off course, and a few were damaged. But the humans adapted. Shields were recalibrated on the fly. Pilots altered their maneuvers in split seconds. Every human acted like a piece of a single intelligent organism. Meanwhile, engineers on the Dauntless activated a new weapon, a resonance cannon that emitted a deep, pulsing energy wave. The cannon's pulse struck the entity's edge. For a moment, the cloud shivered and faltered. The energy wave disrupted its formation, forcing it to retreat slightly. "Keep it on the move," Marshall commanded. "Do not let it stabilize." "Keep testing, keep probing!" The entity roared silently, a soundless scream that shook the surrounding space. It had never encountered such tactics before. It was a force of destruction, yes, but it was not used to being challenged by creatures. So small, yet so clever. Humans did not have the largest weapons. They did not have the most ships, but they had courage, creativity, and a willingness to take risks that no other species would dare. As the battle continued, the humans realized something vital. The entity had a center, a core of energy that controlled its movement. Hitting the edges was enough to slow it, but striking the core might disable it temporarily. But getting close to the core was dangerous. Any ship that came too near risked being absorbed. Vega made a decision. "We need a closer look. Sensors alone won't give us what we need. I volunteer for a probe run." Marshall hesitated, but nodded. "Take a small team, only the essential crew. Your goal is to map its core and find a weak point. Do not engage unless necessary." Vega's team prepared. The small probe vessel, the Intrepid, was stripped down for speed and agility. It carried minimal weapons and maximum sensors. Vega and 3 engineers entered the cockpit, their faces set in determination. They knew this was dangerous, but the humans had never been afraid of danger. It was in their nature to confront it, to find solutions. The Intrepid launched toward the entity, weaving through shifting energy streams. Every second felt like hours. The entity pulsed violently, reacting to their approach. Ships in the fleet watched anxiously, their weapons ready to intervene if Vega's ship was in danger. Inside the cockpit, Vega focused on the readings. The core was enormous, a glowing mass of swirling energy, Around it, smaller tendrils extended, striking at the probe, testing its shields. Vega and the engineers worked quickly, recording data, calculating energy frequencies, and mapping weaknesses. "We've got it," Mara shouted. "If we emit a synchronized pulse at this frequency, we can destabilize the core." Vega nodded. "Prepare the signal. We only have one shot at this." The Intrepid fired the pulse. A wave of energy surged from the probe and struck the core. The entity shuddered violently, twisting and retracting its tendrils. For the first time, it hesitated. Ships in the fleet seized the moment, firing modified weapons and sending more decoys. The humans had found their advantage. They were not. Stronger in raw power, but they were smarter, faster, and more adaptable. The entity could absorb planets, but it could not absorb creativity, courage, and teamwork. Humans were proving that even a small species could challenge a cosmic force. Yet the victory was only partial. The core destabilized temporarily, but the entity was vast and resilient. It recovered, and its energy pulses became more erratic and dangerous. A few ships were damaged or destroyed, reminding the humans that this battle was far from over. After hours of tense engagement, the entity withdrew from the planet. Its energy cloud dispersed slightly, retreating to regroup. The planet below was battered but still standing. Human crews cheered quietly, though exhaustion weighed heavily. They had succeeded where no other species had dared. They had acted when no one else did. They were present. Marshall observed the aftermath from her command station. "We've slowed it," she said, "but this is only the beginning. We need to understand it better, fight smarter, and prepare for the next strike. The galaxy has ignored this threat for too long. It's time humans show what it means to be present." Elsewhere, alien species monitored the battle. Some were incredulous. They had doubted humanity's ability to act alone. Now they watched as humans faced a cosmic terror, survived, and even succeeded. Fear, admiration, and envy spread among the observers. Vega's crew returned to the fleet, battered but alive. Engineers immediately began analyzing the data collected from the probe. Weapons were modified again, shields strengthened, and new tactics discussed. Every human knew that the next encounter would be even more dangerous. The entity was learning, adapting, and growing stronger. In quiet moments, crew members shared stories of courage and ingenuity. Pilots described daring maneuvers, engineers explained how quick fixes saved ships, and scientists marveled at the entity's strange, alien biology. They celebrated small victories but prepared for the larger battle ahead. Vega stood on the observation deck staring at the stars. He thought about the silence of the galaxy, the empty fleets, and the absence of help. Humanity was alone in this fight, yet he felt pride. They were not the strongest species, they were not the largest, but they were present. They were active. They were human. "Humanity does not wait," he said quietly. "We act. We adapt. We survive. We are here when no one else is." The humans repaired, refueled, and prepared to move toward the next system. Their courage, intelligence, and determination had made them the first line of defense against a threat the galaxy had ignored. And though the entity was still out there, they had proven something important. Even a small species could make a difference. Even a species underestimated by all could change the course of events. The message to the galaxy became clearer. When no one else showed up, humanity was present. And the galaxy would soon learn that presence was only the beginning. After the first two encounters, the human fleet drifted through space near a damaged star system. The humans had slowed the cosmic entity, but not stopped it. Every planet in its path was at risk, and the entity was learning. Its movements had become faster, its attacks sharper, and its energy pulses unpredictable. Yet the humans did not despair. They had a strength that no other species seemed to have: adaptability. Admiral Celine Marshall gathered her officers in the command room. Holographic displays showed the entity's latest movements. the damage to the fleet, and predictions of its next targets. Humans worked quickly, analyzing, recalculating, and planning. "We have to teach others," Marshall said. "Even if the galaxy ignores the threat, we can prepare anyone willing to learn. Adaptation and courage can save lives." Several alien observers had joined the fleet secretly. They were small delegations from species that had once ignored the Galactic Council's warnings. They had seen humanity's actions and decided to learn, even if only out of curiosity or self-preservation. Most of them had powerful technology, but they lacked flexibility. They relied on large ships, massive weapons, and rigid strategies. In battle, these approaches had failed. Captain Rian Vega stepped forward. "Humans are not the strongest," he said to the gathered aliens. "We are not the largest, but we act, we adapt, we learn, we improvise. These qualities keep us alive. You can watch, you can copy, but you have to change how you think." The aliens listened, skeptical at first. One of them, a tall, thin species with translucent skin named Vryn, spoke. "Your methods are reckless. You put yourselves in danger unnecessarily. Why risk everything?" Vega smiled. "Because sometimes there is no choice. We cannot wait. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in spite of it. That is what humanity does. That is why we are present when others fail." The fleet began training the aliens. Humans taught them to think in terms of improvisation and problem-solving rather than brute force. Engineers showed how to modify weapons quickly, how to combine alien technology with human designs, and how to use small ships creatively. Pilots demonstrated daring maneuvers, using speed and agility to outsmart the entity instead of trying to overpower it. The aliens watched, sometimes struggling, sometimes amazed. They had relied on predictable patterns and hierarchy. Humans relied on intuition, teamwork, and creativity. Slowly, they began to understand that there was a different way to fight, one that did not depend solely on size or power. Meanwhile, the cosmic entity continued its path of destruction. Sensors detected another planet under immediate threat. Marshall and her officers studied the data. The entity had adapted to some human tactics, but not all. It reacted more aggressively to certain frequencies and slower to others. Every engagement taught the humans something new. "We need to strike again," Marshall said. "But this time, we will combine what we learned with the help of those willing to change." Vega's ship led the way. The alien trainees followed, hesitant but determined. The human fleet moved like a single organism, coordinating with precision. They set traps, used decoys, and deployed energy pulses designed to disrupt the entities. Formation. The battle was chaotic. The entity's tendrils lashed out, absorbing some ships and scattering others. But the humans and their new allies had learned to work together. Small teams paired human ingenuity with alien technology. A freighter retrofitted with human shields acted as bait, while a faster alien ship fired destabilizing pulses. Another group created a holographic illusion, making the entity believe a planet was in one position while the humans attacked from another. Inside the Dauntless, Vega monitored the engagement. "Adapt, observe, repeat," he instructed. "If the entity changes, we change faster. Never stop thinking. Never stop moving." The alien trainees began to see the truth. Their large weapons and rigid strategies were ineffective alone. When combined with human tactics, speed, ingenuity, and coordination, they could make a difference. Slowly, their fear turned into cautious confidence. At one point, the entity targeted a planet with a massive energy surge. A human ship flew directly into the path, using its modified shields to absorb and redirect part of the energy. The redirection created a temporary opening in the entity's formation. A small group of human and alien ships struck together, sending destabilizing pulses toward the entity's core. For a brief moment, the entity faltered, recoiling from the combined assault. The humans cheered, but they knew this was temporary. The entity was vast, resilient, and intelligent. It would learn, it would adapt. But the humans had proven a point. Even a cosmic terror could be challenged when strategy and courage combined. After the engagement, the fleet regrouped. Repairs were made. Data was analyzed. The aliens, who had once doubted humanity, now asked questions, took notes, and tried to replicate the tactics. Vryn approached Vega. "Your species, you think differently. You do not rely solely on strength or numbers. You improvise. You adapt. We could never have done this alone." Vega nodded. "You can, but only if you change how you think. Creativity, courage, teamwork, these are human strengths. Anyone willing to learn can use them." Marshall addressed the entire fleet. "The entity is still out there. More planets are at risk. But today, we taught a lesson. Not just to those aliens, but to ourselves. Humanity has a way of turning disadvantage into strength. We survive because we act, because we adapt, and because we do not wait for someone else to save us." The humans and their allies spent the following days training together. Small teams ran simulations, creating unpredictable strategies. Engineers invented new weapons. Pilots practiced daring maneuvers. Every crew member contributed, learning from mistakes and successes alike. The fleet was becoming stronger, not because of raw power, but because of shared knowledge, creativity, and courage. During quiet moments, the humans reflected on what they had learned. Every encounter with the entity taught them something new. Its size and power were overwhelming, but it had weaknesses. It could be slowed, disrupted, and confused. And most importantly, humans had the ability to think and act in ways no one else could anticipate. Vega stood on the observation deck looking at the stars. "The galaxy may not understand us," he said to himself. "They may ignore us or doubt us. But we know what it means to be present. That is enough. That is what makes us human." As the fleet prepared for the next strike, the humans felt a quiet confidence. They were still outnumbered. They were still small. They were still facing a threat no one else dared confront. But they were learning, adapting, and teaching. And in the vast silence of the galaxy, that made all the difference. Marshall summarized for the officers. "Every planet we protect, every battle we fight, every lesson we teach, it all matters. We cannot stop entirely, but we can prepare. We can act. We are present when no one else is. That will be our strength." And so humanity continued its mission. The cosmic entity loomed large, unstoppable by ordinary means. But humans were not ordinary. They used brains, courage, and teamwork to confront the unimaginable. The alien observers began to understand something essential. The humans' greatest weapon was not their ships or their weapons. It was their presence, their willingness to act when all others hesitated. The message to the galaxy spread quietly, among those watching. Even in the face of fear, even when the odds are impossible, humanity is present. Humanity acts. Humanity survives. As the fleet set course for the next system under threat, Vega turned to his crew. "We don't just fight. We teach. We adapt. We survive. That is what makes us different. That is what keeps us alive. That is humanity." The humans flew into the darkness of space, ready for the next encounter, ready to teach, and ready to show the galaxy that even against impossible odds, presence and courage mattered more than anyone had believed. The galaxy watched silently. Most species still hesitated, unwilling to risk their fleets against the cosmic entity. But among the observers, a few were beginning to understand. Humanity had faced the unimaginable, survived, and even taught others how to fight. Their courage, ingenuity, and presence could no longer be ignored. Admiral Celine Marshall gathered her officers in the command room. The fleet had repaired from previous battles, and was preparing for the next strike. Holographic displays showed the entity moving through a nearby star cluster, its path unpredictable but dangerously close to inhabited worlds. "This is the moment we have trained for," Marshall said. "The entity is stronger now. Its attacks are faster, more destructive. But we have learned, we have adapted, and we have allies willing to act. We can do this." Captain Ryan Vega studied the map. "We can't just strike randomly. We need a coordinated approach. We need speed, strategy, and timing. The entity is learning from us. We must learn faster." Some alien species, previously hesitant, had sent small teams to join the humans. These were not entire fleets, but individuals, pilots, engineers, and strategists, willing to try a new way of thinking. Their technology was powerful, but without human guidance, it was often ineffective. Vega addressed the gathered alien teams. "We will work together. Human tactics are not rigid. We improvise. We adapt. If you follow our example, we can slow the entity, maybe even contain it. But you must trust us and act quickly." The aliens nodded. Some were doubtful. Others were eager to learn. For the first time, they realized that survival depended not on raw power, but on courage, creativity, and coordination. The humans divided the fleet into small strike teams. Each team had a human leader paired with alien crews. Their mission was to attack simultaneously from multiple directions, using decoys, pulses, and energy traps. The entity would be forced to divide its attention, giving humans the advantage, The fleet jumped into the next system. Tension filled every bridge. Sensors detected the entity already there, preparing to consume a planet. Its tendrils reached across space, siphoning energy and destabilizing the atmosphere. "Focus," Marshall ordered. "Stay sharp. Remember what we've learned. Adapt, act, survive." The battle began in a flash of light and energy. The entity reacted quickly, striking at the fleet with massive energy bursts. Ships scattered, shields flared, alarms blared. Vega's Dauntless led the main strike. Small decoy ships darted around the entity, drawing attention and absorbing pulses. Larger ships fired destabilizing waves at weak points in the entity's edges. Alien pilots, guided by human leaders, followed precise maneuvers, creating a web of attacks from all sides. The entity roared silently, a wave of destructive energy washing over nearby ships. A few were damaged, but the humans adapted instantly. Shields were rerouted, decoys repositioned, and pulse weapons fired in new patterns. Every human and willing alien acted like a single organism, moving and thinking together. For hours, the battle raged. The entity's attacks became more violent as it tried to learn human tactics, but the humans were faster. They adapted. They improvised. Engineers modified weapons mid-battle, creating new energy pulses. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, exploiting the entity's momentary weaknesses. At one point, the entity struck a planet directly. Its energy streams tore through cities and forests. A team of human and alien ships worked together to redirect part of the energy back toward the entity. The planet was heavily damaged, but it survived. Humans had proven once again that even against overwhelming odds, presence and action could save lives. In the midst of the chaos, Vryn, the translucent alien, approached Vega on the bridge of the Dauntless. "I see now," Vryn said, voice trembling. "Your species. You adapt in ways we could not imagine. We thought we were clever. We were wrong. Humanity is remarkable." Vega nodded. "We survive because we act. We act because we care. That is what makes us human. You can learn, but only if you change how you think. Adaptability is more important than power." Meanwhile, Marshall coordinated the fleet's movements. "All teams focus on the core. Divert its attention, destabilize it, and create an opening. Timing is everything. If we succeed, we can slow it, maybe even contain it temporarily." The human fleet executed a complex strategy. Small ships acted as bait, drawing the entity's energy away from the planet. Larger vessels fired synchronized pulses at multiple points, confusing the entity's sensors. Alien teams followed human instructions precisely, learning to adapt in real time. For a moment, the entity faltered. Its tendrils recoiled, its energy pulses scattered. The humans had created a temporary opening. Strike teams moved in, targeting. The core with precision attacks. The entity struggled to defend itself, reacting but unable to counter all the attacks at once. The humans cheered quietly as they saw the results. The core of the entity was destabilized, energy pulses flickering and weakening. For the first time, the cosmic terror had been slowed significantly. The fleet was battered, but alive. Marshall spoke over the comms to all teams. "This is the turning point. We have proven that even the greatest threats can be challenged. We have shown courage, creativity, and presence. But this is not the end. The entity will recover. We must prepare for its next strike. We must continue to adapt and act." The alien observers were amazed. Some had never seen courage and ingenuity on this scale. They had relied on rigid tactics and overwhelming force, yet it was the humans, small, adaptable, and willing to risk everything, who had turned the tide. Vryn approached Marshall. "We underestimated your species. We will follow your lead, if you allow it. We see now that raw power is nothing without strategy and courage." Marshall nodded. "Then act with us. Learn, adapt, and survive. That is all any of us can do." As the fleet repaired and regrouped, humans continued training. The aliens. Pilots practiced daring maneuvers, engineers invented new energy pulses, and scientists analyzed the entity's behavior. Every encounter taught them something new. Every battle improved their understanding. The humans had learned an important lesson themselves. Survival depended not on strength alone, but on willingness to act, to adapt, and to teach others. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, presence mattered more than power. In quiet moments, Vega reflected on the journey so far. "The galaxy has ignored the threat for too long," he said. "They doubted us, laughed at us, and waited. But we have shown them what it means to be present. That is our greatest strength. That is humanity." The humans set course for the next system under threat. The entity was still dangerous, still powerful, and still unpredictable. But humans had gained allies, learned new tactics, and proven that even the most desperate situations could be met with courage and creativity. Marshall addressed her officers. "The turning point is here. The entity is learning, adapting, but so are we. We will face the next strike with even greater strength, coordination, and courage. Humanity does not wait. Humanity acts. Humanity is present." And with that, the fleet jumped into hyperspace, ready to face the entity again, ready to show the galaxy that even when all others hesitated, humans would be there. The message spread quietly among alien observers. Humanity does not wait. Humanity adapts. Humanity survives, and when no one else shows up, humanity is present. The cosmic entity had met its match in a small, underestimated species. It was vast, powerful, and terrifying. Yet humans, through courage, creativity, and presence, had turned the tide. And the galaxy, for the first time in ages, began to take notice. The turning point was clear. Humanity would not wait for others to act. They would confront the impossible, teach those willing to learn, and show that even a single species, if determined, could make a difference. The stars stretched ahead, full of danger and unknown challenges, but humanity, present and unyielding, would face them. The cosmic entity had grown larger and more aggressive. Entire star systems trembled under its presence. Its energy tendrils stretched across space like a storm, consuming planets, destabilizing stars, and leaving nothing behind. Most species, in the galaxy continued to watch from afar, afraid to act, yet humanity moved forward. Admiral Celine Marshall stood on the bridge of the command station. Her eyes scanned the holographic map of the star cluster under threat. Countless planets hung in the balance. Ships in her fleet, human and alien alike, buzzed with activity, preparing for the final confrontation. "This is it," she said, softly. "Everything we have learned, everything we have done, comes down to this. The entity is powerful, but it is not invincible. We will act. We will adapt. We will survive." Captain Rian Vega adjusted his uniform, preparing his ship for the upcoming battle. "We've faced it before," he said. "We've slowed it, tested it, and learned its patterns. Now we strike decisively. Humanity does not wait. We are present. And we will prove it." Small teams of alien allies worked alongside human crews. They had learned to abandon rigid strategies, to improvise, and to trust human tactics. Some still doubted, but many had begun to believe in the lessons of humanity. Courage, ingenuity, and teamwork could change the course of even the most hopeless battles. The fleet moved toward the entity's location. Space itself seemed to tremble under the cosmic presence. Energy streams licked across planets, threatening to destabilize entire systems. Ships darted through the chaos, shields flaring. Weapons ready, every crew member knew the stakes. Vega's Dauntless led a squadron of small, agile ships. Decoy vessels moved ahead, drawing the entity's attention and forcing it to divide its energy. Larger ships prepared synchronized pulses aimed at weak points detected during previous encounters. Human engineers had worked tirelessly to perfect these weapons, combining alien and human technology into something the entity had never seen. "Stay sharp," Vega commanded. "The entity adapts quickly. We must adapt faster." The battle began in a flash of energy and light. The entity struck first, sending massive tendrils toward the fleet. Ships were thrown off course. Some were damaged, others destroyed. Yet, the humans continued. They had learned not to panic, not to rely solely on strength. They moved as one, improvising and coordinating with precision. Engineers fired synchronized pulses while pilots executed daring maneuvers, weaving through energy streams. Alien allies followed instructions, using their advanced technology in ways they had never imagined. The entity roared in silence, shifting and twisting, trying to counter the human tactics. Inside the Dauntless, Vega monitored the battlefield. "Focus on the core," he said. "Divert its attention, destabilize it, and create an opening. Timing is everything. We have one chance to strike decisively." Small ships acted as bait, drawing tendrils away from the core. Larger vessels unleashed waves of destabilizing energy. The entity faltered. Its movements became erratic. Strike teams pressed the attack, targeting weak points with precision. For the first time, the entity could not fully recover. Its massive energy pulses scattered. Its tendrils recoiled. The humans had created a temporary opening. Every crew member felt it. This was the moment that could change everything. Marshall coordinated the fleet's final assault. "All teams, focus fire. Push forward. Humanity does not retreat. We act when no one else will. Strike together. Strike now." The attack was daring and dangerous. Small ships flew dangerously close to the entity's core, drawing energy away while synchronized. Pulses struck multiple points simultaneously. Alien allies fired with human guidance. Engineers recalibrated weapons mid-battle. Every moment required split-second decisions. The entity roared silently, struggling to defend itself. Its vast energy field flickered, weakening under the relentless assault. Human and alien crews moved with precision, courage, and ingenuity. They were no longer just fighting. They were orchestrating a symphony of survival. Vega's team delivered the final strike. A concentrated pulse hit the core of the entity, destabilizing its energy field. For the first time, the cosmic force recoiled violently, unable to maintain control. Its tendrils collapsed, energy streams dissipated, and the entity began to shrink, losing cohesion. The fleet held its formation, maintaining pressure while avoiding the entity's final attacks. Slowly, carefully, the cosmic terror was contained. It no longer threatened planets. It had not been destroyed, but it had been neutralized, its energy confined, its movement limited. Cheering erupted across the fleet, ships that had survived. The battle broadcast their victory signals. Humans and alien allies shared relief, exhaustion, and pride. They had faced the impossible and prevailed. Marshall addressed the fleet. "We have done what no one else dared. We have acted, adapted, and survived. Humanity has shown the galaxy that presence matters more than hesitation, courage more than pride, and action more than inaction. Remember this victory, and remember what it means to be human." The alien observers were stunned. Some had never imagined a species so small could confront a threat so massive and survive. They had witnessed ingenuity, courage, and determination on a scale they could scarcely comprehend. Vryn, the translucent alien, spoke softly. "We underestimated humanity. We doubted you. We thought our strength was enough. But now we see. Presence, courage, and adaptability can change everything. We will remember this." Vega nodded. "Then let this be a lesson. Humanity acts when others hesitate. Humanity survives when others doubt. And humanity will always be present when it matters most." The galaxy began to change. News of humanity's victory spread quietly at first, then more broadly. Stories of courage, strategy, and ingenuity traveled between star systems. The Galactic Council could no longer ignore Earth. Species once dismissive of humans began to respect them, some even seeking alliances. Humanity had done more than defeat the entity. They had shown what it meant to be truly present. They had proven that small, underestimated species could challenge the impossible, inspire others, and change the course of events. Back on Earth, leaders celebrated quietly. Ships returned to orbit, damaged but victorious. Scientists studied the data, engineers refined weapons, and pilots rested for the next mission. Humanity had won this battle, but the galaxy still held unknown dangers. And humans were ready. Marshall stood on the observation deck looking at the stars. "The entity is contained," she said. "But there will be other threats, other dangers, other moments when the galaxy hesitates. Humanity will be there. We will act. We will survive. We will be present." Vega joined her, gazing at the distant lights. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The galaxy now knows who we are. They know what we can do, and they will remember. Humanity is not just a presence in the stars. Humanity is a force that will always act when it matters most." The fleet prepared for the future. The cosmic entity, once unstoppable, was now contained and studied. Scientists worked to understand its nature, engineers refined defenses, and pilots trained for new challenges. Humanity had changed the galaxy's perception, proving that courage, creativity, and presence mattered more than size, power, or hesitation. And so, humanity continued its journey. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of unknown dangers, mysteries, and challenges. But humans had proven that they could face the impossible, protect the innocent, and inspire others to act. The message to the galaxy was clear. When no one else showed up, humanity was present. And when it mattered most, humanity acted. Humanity survived. Humanity thrived. The cosmic entity had been neutralized, but the galaxy had been forever changed. Respect, caution, and curiosity toward humanity spread among the stars. Other civilizations began to reconsider their place in the galaxy. Perhaps it was not the largest fleets or oldest species that would shape the future, but the species willing to act, adapt, and be present when it mattered most. Marshall looked at the horizon of space and whispered, "The galaxy will remember. Humanity will always be present." Vega smiled. "And they will know. Courage, ingenuity, and action can change everything. Even against impossible odds, humanity stands. Always present. Always ready." The human fleet moved onward, faster, stronger, and wiser. The galaxy had seen humanity rise to the challenge, and the universe would never forget it.